Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again to continue from where we stopped. But before we forge ahead, we'd like to do a quick recap, because the other day, I don't know if that guy that asked that question of whether if I can go back is here now. But it's always good to do a recap of what has been taught, please, so that people will know that, okay, this young man is out here to refresh our memory. So we talked about tools. At least by now, I would expect you to might have installed Sublime. Has anybody in the house who have installed Sublime Text successfully? We sent the link to where you can download it from, regardless of your operating system. We also forwarded a guideline on how to do the installation. Anybody here who has installed Sublime? I don't mean someone that has it before. Since we posted that stuff, has anybody successfully installed Sublime? And if you have not, what is the problem? Is it something that we can assist? Just tell us. Because you need it too.
Yeah, I've installed.
Sir?
I've installed.
Okay, glory be to God.
I installed.
Yeah, that is when, right?
But you said unregistered version.
Yes, it's okay. It's fine. Usually it's not free, but there is always that version for us to test. Who else has, please? Not yet installed. That is Naomi Maki. This when will we get the first and second class record? I'll give to the program manager, and he will forward it to you. So that shouldn't be an issue. Yes, who else has installed? Please, you can leave the message on the chat, or if you don't want to speak here, but I need to know the number that have installed, so that somebody said that I can't hear anything. That Vera Nku. You cannot hear, really? Can anybody hear me?
So I can hear you now. That was before you started.
Okay. Thank you. So who has installed Sublime, who has not? Because even all the way to Python, we're going to be using Sublime before we talk about PyCharm. And before we, for those of you who be doing data science, before we go to Jupyter Notebook, or even trying to install Anaconda or Conda, which any of those, please. So I need to know. Or you just come here, you listen to our talk, and then that is the end. Olive Wen has installed Sublime. That means today's class we will log into your system and we install it for you. Or is it that you are joining through via mobile phones, not computer? Because you really need a computer, no doubt. Who has installed? Let me check. Please, our program manager, if you can hear me, go through the chat to see how many people have installed.
I'm joining through my mobile phone.
Okay, you're joining Doc. Good evening, sir. Yeah, good evening, ma. Sorry. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okpe has installed. Yes. Mr. Tony.
Yes, Engineer AB, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How is family?
Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Fine, sir. Who else has installed?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good, sir.
I haven't installed it, sir, because I joined through our mobile phone.
Okay, but you have a computer, right?
But not yet me right now.
Okay. Please, because you need to install these tools. If you don't have it, just like a mechanic. Engineer Sunday, please. You're saying something. Yes, it's glitching.
Right. Good evening.
Good evening,
Yeah,
sir.
I joined. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening. I say where I am currently, I am accessing the internet via my mobile. I'm not
Okay.
close to my system.
All right.
But I have VS Code. Is VS can
Yeah,
can I make
VS
use of
Code
it?
is advanced of it. That is integrated
VS Code on my
environment, so
system.
it's fine. If you can use VS Code, that is a very perfect one, actually. VS Code, PyCharm, or Eclipse, whatever. Like,
Hello.
yeah.
This thing is glitching.
No, but I have answered you. We can hear you now. It's fine. Thank you. VS
Okay.
Code is fine, sir. Program manager, you can leave that comment there on the chat for Engineer Sunday to know. VS Code is very perfect. Okay.
It's fine now, right?
Yes,
All right. I have VS
it's fine.
Code already installed. Okay. So no problem.
All right. So who else has installed? We need to know, please. Time will come, like in 2 weeks from now, our media team will be following you one-on-one to know what you are doing, how you are doing it. If you are having any challenges, how we can follow up to assist in our own little way. That is the mandate that has been given to us, and we want to deliver in that manner, please. So you can't take it for granted. If you are here, we would want to, to see how we will impart to you digitally. At least. So from the statistics, please, program manager, if you can hear me, get the statistics of the people that have installed and get of those that are always coming to class, but they have not installed. Check what the problem is and see how we could assist in our own way. Thank you. Having said this, we can begin with the class, right?
Okay.
All right. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And then, like I started.
No, sorry, I want to ask, have you had has there been a, hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Have we had is there a previous class before prior to this one?
Don't worry about that because we are starting like the beginning now.
Hello?
So,
Was there a previous class? Or this is the first class?
we are starting all over, sir. Please, just mute. We are starting all over with the tools. So this is like the first class. It's a recap. It's a recap. Just mute, sir. Yeah. Thank you. You all can mute now and accept me. Thank you. So like the young man was asking, if this is the first class, it doesn't matter no more because what we've done here, I think the slides upstairs, they are just slides about the instructor, which does not matter anyway. It's just for you to know whether the person that is training you is qualified. That is why I just put all of that there. So this is the first class. If I have to answer it, because first, understanding of first is beginning, right? So this is the beginning of the slides. And we started by telling you the kind of tools that is required for you to start coding. We talk about Sublime, we talk about Atom, we talk about Bracket, we talk about which are the text editors though, even Notepad++, we talk about IntelligentJ, and we also graduated a little bit to integrated development environment, which is IDE. And we talk about Eclipse, we talk about PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, and so on and so forth. And that is not limited to those that I've mentioned. So it's millions of them out there to choose from, depending on which one that will be very flexible for you to use. So yeah, moving on. We say just like a mechanic, you need a tool, to be able to start coding. Having a laptop or a desktop is not enough. You should know how to read and write. You should have at least internet, a little bit of internet around you. And, you know, with the tools loaded in it, then you can start coding. So, because a good text editor is the only way to, you know, debug HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and even Python, Java, whatever you call, or whatever you're doing, even Angular to that other level is required. Text editor is required. ID is required, but just a bit advanced. Okay, we told you that debugging, right? Debugging is a system of factoring out errors. You identify the error and you try to fix it. So you could say bug and debug, like, you know, there is a bug. Bug is an error already, so you need to debug it. And the very common word that we use here is dry run, meaning that there is an error there, try to identify and fix it. There are several ways to identify and fix an error. So we say that for you to know a little bit about the code that power a certain website, you can just right-click on the site, then you try to view page source, and you'll see a lot of code like this one on it. I'm going to be a bit faster. And if you want to know the little code that power a particular element, like for example, the Google element, you just, you know, right-click, and then you try to inspect element. In that regard, you will see a kind of code that powers it. In this manner, you will see that you will be able to see the height and the width of the logo. But if it is a text that you right-click on, you will see more than a width and a height. You could go all the way to see padding, margin, and not just padding. You could see padding left, right, bottom, top, margin left, right, bottom, top. You could see border, you could see color, font alignment, and all of that stuff, which you will get there by the special grace of God. So, and if you want to edit it to see whether, you know, you are learning how to do it now, and you just double click to change it. So, but when you update, of course, that update is going to change. Has anybody done this little exercise yet? Anybody? Don't please jump and pass. Don't be the hearer only, but be the doer of the word. Right? Did anybody attempt to do this exercise?
Yes, I did.
Okay, brilliant. Let me maybe getting those names. Okay, that is when. When seems to be, you know, paying attention. Please, did anybody attempt? None of this is too small because it's through the fundamentals. In fact, the fundamental level is where the ordinances of coding lies, right? The fundamental construct, the whole of the ordinances, the ethics, the rules, everything lies there. No one is going to teach you the ordinances, the pattern, the transition in which we code at the intermediate level or advanced level. Rather, you are going to be seeing how object is being oriented. So if you are thinking that, yeah, I'm going to know it in front, I think it's just like saying, I'm not interested in knowing A, B, C, D as alphabet, 2-letter, 3-letter words, or even talk of knowing how to construct a sentence, but I'm interested in knowing how to write article. So that is not going to happen. It's this fundamental construct that you're going to see the pattern in which we write code. So please, you better be practicing it because it's learning by doing. That is why it's just 6 weeks. And if by peradventure there is a grace for us to, you know, to extend it, then we'll seek permission from the World Bank, who has mandated us to do this, and to see how that will come. But for time being, let's just put all our heads within this period of 6 weeks. So please, none is too much, none is too small. Pay attention and do your assignment, please. Thank you. All right, and we say that when you do that and check the width and the height, you're going to see it like in this kind of funny form, right? So, and then again, and please, another thing is the class is ending by in 10 minutes time. For this link, go to the second link, you click it, the one that starts from 7:30, you know? So that is how we're going to be following it. Pay attention. So we talk about clients and server, you know, and we say that clients is the ordinary person going in front of computer, typing www.this, for whatever you see in your front, that is the front end. But when the code that powers it is where the server ends like. So we call it front end and back end, right? Or client side and server side. We talk about some of the HTTP request and response. There is more to this, but at the fundamental level, just try to bring it to this level so that you understand it more. When we say that HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, it's a request which we call a getter, and a response part of it, we call it a setter. So it's just the interpretation, direct interpretation to the left and the right. It's just what the left want. If the right has it, just give it. If you don't have it, not that you will not give, but the giving will be very negative. We stated some of the technology we use at the front side, where we talk about HTML, JavaScript, and so many of them there like that. Even Angular, even React Native, they are all of the front end technology. And we talk about Python, PHP, JavaScript, MySQL, and other server-side languages, right? It's a principle of handshake. You give me what I give you, like the old man would say. That is what happened between the request and the response. And we say that as you are clicking, in case you think that you just click and nothing happened and you just get the answer, there is a process that go on behind the scene. So you clicking is a gate. You want to get something, and it will access through the WWE, which is we call it the Universal Resource Locator URL, and then it will check with the host. If everything is okay with the host, it will accept it into it, and then mix it with a extensive hypertext markup language, that is SHTML, and to give it to the extensive, I add it to the extensive markup language, which is the XML, and then translate it to machine language, and in so doing, it will populate for you to see the result of that thing that you clicked. So all of those languages, you'll be hearing those jargons. I will try to put up some words like 1,000 to 2, and then ship to you so that you'll be conversant with those terminologies. They are key to know. We talk about server, how server handles the request. What it does is just handle the request. And this could come in form of internet protocol. If you are doing networking, you might have heard of IP. When we say IP address, what we mean is the internet protocol. There is a protocol. When we use the word protocol, we are talking about language, a section of language. That's what we use, protocol. So some servers, in the way they respond using the starter codes. So when everything is okay, but you will not see this though, it's behind the scene. Everything is okay, that starter code will quote 200 to checkmate with the content length, the content type, and all of that, SHTML plus SML, and check the character standard, which is UTF-8. That is a standard that .com era, adopt so much. Not just Web 1.0, not just Web 2.0, not just Web 3.0, even to the extent of Web 4.0. And when everything happened very well, with that little program that we've written there, it will populate as a front end. This is the front end of it. This is like the browser. All right, if it is not found, it's resource not found, then it's 404. Very useful, very common error. And everything okay, like I said, 200, resource not found, 404. 500 server error, 100s are informational, 200s all successful, 300 redirectional. Something was sitting on desktop before, and you move it to document, or it was sitting as a single file, you move it to a folder. If you see that day that I tried to, create a German Shepherd image, you see that I moved it, and then you could see that there was no picture. In the background, if we are to check the code, the JavaScript there in the browser, though, you would see the redirectional, which is 300x. All right, and we talked about HTML, which we say it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It will hide the text and mark up and mark it up and structure it. That is what we mean markup. And that process is the language of HTML. We talk about the fact that it stands as a content. It lays the structure, the skeletal part, the framework for the website. That is the only job it does. It gives the standard columns for it so that the building will not collapse. Before painting will start coming in and decoration will start coming in, we are saying structure needs to be established. And the job that this technology, this beautiful technology HTML does only is to structure it. And you cannot tell me that the skeletal part of human being is not important. If you say that HTML is not important, that is what you're just telling us, that the skeletal part of human being is not important. For those medical people here, you will know the importance of physiology in medicine, not just the anatomical, part. Anatomical part here will be CSS. We'll get there, and you begin to see the beauty of it. So when you talk of styling, presentation, oh wow, all of those beautiful things, that is CSS. HTML will never get that will not do that for you, right? Rather, it will structure the reference point like class IDs, and for you to reference it from CSS, whether the background, the position, and all, right? We say that it is made up of nested tag because it follows the chronology of up to bottom, right? Because the code runs from top to bottom. So in the beauty of these three front-end language of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we say that HTML is just the content, CSS is just a presentation, which is just like the flesh, and the JavaScript is the functionality. It handles just the functionalities. Just like water running in a house, there is the light in the house, the house is livable, and all of that stuff. That is the job of JavaScript. I'm very, very fast because this is just a recap, and then before we get back to this kind of recap again, it's going to take a while, like going all the way to the tools. So this is it. Another way to look at it is looking at a HTML that is a noun, is the body of object, a noun. And this noun now, what can I do to this body of object? I want to give it a color property. What is the value for the color? Red. That part is adjective, right? Because wow is going to come in. Red is an adjective, isn't it? So, and
Yes.
excuse me, sir. So, and then the JavaScript, what it does is the functionalities. Like, for example, this paragraph hide it. That is a function. That is an action. So we're going to look at it as a verbs in that regards, right? And we give the sequence or the pattern or the ordinances in which we write HTML code, right? Where we consider it from the parent body of the HTML, which encompasses the general body, where in it there is a section for head, where in that head there is a section for title, for metadata, where author description, which is you now as a programmer, and we go back to the body content. That is all of those that you want it to show in the browser, which is all have to come under the body section. And we use this scenario of car to showcase the very first example, in a very, very fundamental way of doing it. And we expanded it a bit to this team, using this team, where some guys started picking it up from there.